Hello, Lindsey Roberts.
Hello, Bart, Shannon.
How excited are you about this week's movie and this week's guest?
Well, I'm thrilled. I think this is probably my favorite comedy horror. It's been a few years since I've seen it. I was really excited to jump in. And then this particular person who is our guest, I've worked with her many times, and I'm always so happy when I find out that she's on a project that I get to do. Oh my God, I can't wait.
Let's just do it. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Let's die laughing. Lindsey?
Hi. I'm so excited about this week.
You know, at my age, anything that gets you excited, makes you feel like you're alive.
That's right.
And so it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. Should we tell them what movie we're doing here?
I think we kind of have to.
I think we do.
It's such a good one. I think we have to.
It is. All right. This episode, we are going to be talking about Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
How about that?
It's so good. It's so good.
All right. We're going to bring out our guest. Our guest today is a good friend of both of ours, a very talented and funny woman. She produces and created and writes this incredible, not yearly, maybe semi-yearly. It's called The Breakup Show, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's produced and performed in Memphis, Tennessee. They just take your breakup stories, they act out your breakup stories, they analyze your breakup stories, and they collect real breakup stories, and it is a fucking fantastic show. And there's a show coming up in November. So perfect timing for our guest to come on and not only join us talking about Shaun of the Dead, but to talk a little bit about the upcoming breakup show. Please welcome our wonderful guest, Savannah Bearden.
Hey, y'all.
Hi, Savannah. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here on this podcast. I'm just excited to be here and see your faces.
I guess first question should be, have you ever seen Shaun of the Dead? Wah, wah.
Oh, hey, I have seen Shaun of the Dead several times. Okay. But it has also been several years since I have seen Shaun of the Dead. And as I let y'all know, I am terrified of zombies. So there's a reason why I was a little hesitant to walk back down that road.
We're here for you, Savannah. We are here
Thank
for
you.
you.
Sorry, it started with the Michael Jackson Thriller video when I was young. And literally, that's where my fear of zombies came from. And I still can't listen to that song when the Vincent Price part.
Well, to paraphrase the poet George Michael, don't be afraid. I will be your father figure. And I will
Thank you.
love you till the end of time.
Yes, I will put my tiny hand in yours, Bart.
Oh my
Yes.
God, y'all, I'm dead.
All right. I would assume there are people that do live under a rock or have lived under a rock and have not seen Shaun of the Dead. So let's together watch the trailer for 2004's brilliant Shaun of the Dead.
It's going to be a treat.
Ever think modern life is not for you? Do you do the same dead-end job every day?
There's no I in team, but there is an I in pie. There's an I in meat pie. So the anagram of meat is team. I don't know.
Is your love life dying on its feet?
To a wonderful mum.
Oh. Have you ever felt that you're turning into a zombie?
In a
time
Although no one is prepared to comment, religious groups are calling it Judgment Day.
of crisis,
It is vital that you stay in your homes
a hero must
and
rise
avoid all contact with the assailants.
from his sofa.
The attackers can be stopped by removing the head or destroying the brain.
Go for the head.
Purple Rain? No. Sign of the Times? Definitely not. The Batman soundtrack? Throw it.
The biggest zombie comedy in British history is invading America.
I'm coming!
And if you're looking for a man
I've taken a shortcut before.
with the right moves,
Nice, good vocal work. Let's all try it together, shall we? 1, 2.
the right lines.
The only thing that will redeem mankind is cooperation.
And the right partner.
2 seconds.
And hold it there.
Don't
Sorry.
call Shaun.
Oi!
Shaun.
Oh.
Shaun of the Dead.
He's my husband, you know. I still love him. I've still got the ring on my finger.
You go to bed with it?
How about that?
About that.
That's 2004, all in a nutshell right there.
Correct. Right?
I saw it in theaters for Halloween last year because it does have a special place in my heart. But you know how it is when you love a film so much, you've seen it so many times, you assume like nobody wants to talk about this movie because, you know, I've seen it a billion times and I assume everyone else has, but not everyone has. But it is worth anyone's watch and anyone's multiple watch just to catch those who have been under a rock. Shaun of the Dead was a UK released in April 2004. It was directed by Edgar Wright, who at the time, this was his first film. He was a director of television in the UK, most famously Spaced, where he and Simon Pegg really found their way as writers and filmmakers. The script was written by Pegg and Edgar Wright. The original title was Tea Time of the Dead.
Right? Isn't that funny?
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
so British. Tea
Wow.
Time of the Dead.
Yeah, that hits a lot different than, Shaun of the
It
Dead.
does, doesn't it? Which I think Shaun of the Dead is much funnier, and it rhymes with Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. How about that?
I get it now. I get it now. I
it.
just now
I
got
get it.
that.
Really? I love you. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
It's the first part of the so-called Cornetto trilogy, which Cornetto ice cream is mentioned in Shaun of the Dead because after the premiere of the movie, Cornetto ice cream sent them a shit ton of free ice cream. They said, well, we're going to mention it in all of these other films too, see if they'll keep sending us free ice cream, which they did not. But this one is the Cornetto Red because it's a red label of Cornetto ice cream representing the blood of Shaun of the Dead. Then in Hot Fuzz, their second film, it's Cornetto Blue for cop uniforms. And in their third film, World's End, Cornetto Green for little green men, the aliens of that.
I'm already learning so much, guys. This is great. I'm just going to hang back.
That's what Bart is here for.
Like I said, it's hard not to talk about this movie without talking about Spaced. The concept of this movie was originally concocted on an episode of Spaced. At the end of season 1, they shot this zombie. Simon Pegg's character is up all night on speed, playing Resident
video
Evil.
games.
Yeah, and then there's this zombie sequence, and then he and Edgar Wright were riding in a cab together, and Edgar Wright said, we should do a whole zombie movie. And that's sort of the origin of that. And many of the zombie extras in the movie, they sent out a press release and put out flyers saying, hey, Spaced fans, do you want to be in a horror film for the makers of Spaced? So that's where that starts.
Yeah, and apparently, like, some of them either didn't get paid at all or only got paid like £1. They just wanted to do it. Like, they just wanted to be in the movie.
Oh, wow.
So the movie opens in the pub, the Winchester, which is a main location in this film. It opens the film, and the last half hour of the film is in the Winchester.
I love that it's called the Winchester. That makes me really happy. And I think there's some really fun moments in there, especially, you know, hearkening to their need for weaponry and guns later. And it's just England, and there's a bar called the Winchester.
Yeah. Shaun is in the Winchester with his girlfriend Liz and her friends, and we right off the bat see that Shaun is having a little difficulty growing up and moving into a deeper part of this relationship with his girlfriend Liz.
Yeah, I mean, there's a shot of Shaun and a shot of Liz, and they are having this conversation that you think is just between the two of them, because that's what normal people would do, right? If you're having a serious conversation about your relationship, it's just going to be the two of you, and they're talking about life, and I haven't even met your mother, and you know, it's not that I don't like your friends. Well, I don't know if I like your friends either. And of course, they pan out, and the friends are just sitting right there at the table, literally right next to them. You know, Ed is totally oblivious, not even paying attention. And her friends, who I think are just fantastic characters in the film and add so much. They are so funny.
And almost kind of shows how close they're always at this bar together all the time. That's how familiar they all are with each other in the group dynamics. No one's offended. It's just, this is just how it is.
Right, exactly. They're totally not offended. They're like, no, we get it. You know, we get it. But that's the problem, right? We are always at the Winchester.
Yeah, you find out right away that Liz is over being at the Winchester, and she mentions that on their recent anniversary, they came to the Winchester. And so she gets Shaun to promise that he will book a real reservation at a real restaurant, and they will celebrate it properly. And also we get to meet Ed. Nick Frost
Oh my God. What?
is something kind of special in just how raw he is. As much as this film is a director's showcase, watching it now versus 21 years ago, it's an actor's showcase. There are so many great performances in this damn movie.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Ed especially, I just read yesterday that his first line to the table, "Can I get any of you cunts a drink?" was a total ad lib.
Which is really funny because they were pretty particular about that. There is not a lot of improving in this movie where it feels like the type of movie where you're thinking they just are saying this shit. They're just saying whatever fucking comes to their mind. They're not. They were very particular about sticking very closely to the script, and there's very little ad-libbing. There's a couple of moments in there, like that moment where you're like, oh, okay, here we go.
He's that guy.
Yes.
So that's excellent setup for where we are. This is a protagonist that is really struggling growing up, trying to move into that next phase of a relationship and of his life. After this scene, we go back to Shaun's apartment and we get to meet his other flatmate, Pete, played by Peter Serafinowicz.
It rolls right off the tongue.
It does. Certainly does.
Best known as Brian Butterfield, also from The Tick. He was also in Spaced, but Lindsey, I know you know this, and I'll say this just for you as a diehard Star Wars fan. He voiced Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace.
I know, right?
I did not know that. Fast
Pretty
fact.
cool.
Okay.
In this scene, we get to see that Ed is just a freeloader, and he's just hanging out there and has been there for, I think Peter says, remember that time where we all stayed up all night drinking schnapps and hanging out, and
Playing Tekken.
Shaun laughs and said, yeah, when was that? And he goes, it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. He hasn't left since.
But during this time, we also get the first shot of Peter in the bathroom mirror. So there's this, as throughout this movie, there are so many callbacks to jokes, callbacks to shots, callbacks to references. And this is the first one. Simon Pegg is in the mirror. He moves it slightly, and then there's Pete standing right over his shoulder in the mirror, complaining about the door being left open. And that gets brought back up later to their detriment. So, we've now established the main core of these friends and their roommates. We've set up now what the movie is about relationship-wise. And now, after this scene, we move into other elements of what it might become.
What I like about this scene, too, is it's kind of interesting that Ed is very clearly the deadbeat, right? I mean, that's established very quickly. But as soon as Shaun sits down on the couch, wakes up and sits down on the couch, he grabs the controller and it says, player 2 has entered the game. And he's like, well, what else have I got to do today? And he was like, you have to be at work in an hour. And then it was immediately, player 2 has left the game. So as much of like a loser as he is, he's kind of the person that's like, hey, you got shit to do. I ain't gonna do it, but you got shit to do. Okay, go work. So I can continue to freeload. Let me keep up with your schedule so you can keep providing for me. It's pretty
Clearly,
funny.
your natural tendency is to slack. Like that is out of the bed, go to slack. Don't think about work. Yeah.
I prioritize my slacking by making sure that you don't.
I've seen this movie so many times, and I did not get this until yesterday when I watched it again.
Tell me.
So when Ed answers the call, when Pete is saying, can you clean up around the house and can you take messages for people other than you? And so he gets the call about weed, and he just says, I barely have enough for myself. Later, when Shaun goes to work, his teenage coworker says, no, I called him. He doesn't have anything. So Ed was his 17-year-old coworker's weed dealer.
Okay.
I missed that too, but I did love, there was this kind of throwaway line that Ed says. He says, man, the next time I see Pete, he's going to be dead. And of course he will.
The foreshadowing.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't catch that, Bart. That's a good catch.
Can we talk about the peak 2004-ness of this film? Just the phone alone, just the tiny cell phones, Liz with her shiny navy blue eyeshadow.
So good.
I just kept being delighted by all these. He's like, oh, it's a disposable film camera. Look at that.
Oh my God. So good, right?
Yes. Yeah. So just those little nuggets throughout.
Looking in the phone book for a telephone number.
Yes.
and then like ringing the restaurant because you've looked it up in the phone book. Brilliant.
You guys don't still do that?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Hello?
Good
Yeah.
job, Bart.
Mhm.
Yeah, we sure
Hello?
do. Yeah. I barely even use Google anymore. Let's be real.
The credit sequence that comes right after the scene in the opening scene in the Winchester. Everybody in that scene, almost all of them become zombies later in the film. But there's that scene where everyone's standing at the bus stop with their tiny little phones out.
Yes.
It seems so ridiculous. It's almost like the Will Ferrell sketch where
Yes. Also Saturday Night Live sketch.
Jeffries.
trying to open the tiny little phone.
It is so funny.
Absolutely.
So yeah, very 2004. After Shaun leaves to go to work, we get the first oneer. That's probably what this film, I think, is probably most famous for, are the two oneers, the one pre-outbreak and the one post-outbreak.
Yeah. Going to the store or going to his shop.
Yeah, going to the shop. We go through the whole motion, and he just goes in, gets his drink. There's a newspaper on the counter that says something about a mysterious outbreak, but in a very ambiguous terms. And then he hops on a bus and heads to work. And then we start seeing some elements of something maybe afoul, elements in the background that he's barely noticing on his way to work.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was watching that too, obviously watching this now in 2025 through a pandemic lens,
Yeah.
like I was very reminded to like in the early days when it was like coronavirus and you know, you'd hear it on the TV or see it a headline. And I kept thinking like, this seems like the first act of a horror film. Because you're kind of paying attention, you're not. And so watching this, I was like, oh, that's exactly what it felt like. Just kind of like, oh, all of a sudden, everything's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, is this going to be a thing? I'm not sure this is going to be a thing. And then all of a sudden it was a thing.
Very, very a thing.
There's a great book on the making of Shaun of the Dead called You've Got Red on You.
Of course, that's what it's called.
Edgar Wright says that the sort of the origin of Shaun being oblivious to a zombie outbreak was he totally missed that is it foot and mouth disease?
Hand, foot, and mouth disease, yeah.
In UK in 2001. He hadn't watched television in a couple of weeks and hadn't read a newspaper and didn't even know they had an epidemic going on. And he said he turned on the television one day and it was a bunch of footage of piles of cattle being set on fire. He's like, what did I just miss? So that's why he wrote it in that like he and Ed have no clue that there's a zombie outbreak. Let's see, after that, we get to see Shaun's workplace where he's a very Circuit City, Best Buy type of electronic salesman selling television and cable packages. Right away, we get to see him mocked by his teenage coworker. He gets a phone call while Shaun's giving his speech, and that phone call is the one where he tells a friend, no, my weed dealers doesn't have anything. God, I cannot believe it took me so many viewings to finally catch that.
Yeah, I didn't either. And the name of the electronic store? 4A Electronics.
It is 4A Electronics. You're absolutely right. Shout out to Ken 4A. And now that we're talking shout outs, the first thing he says is we're all going to have to pitch in because Ash has called in sick.
Ash, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Campbell. Yeah. Yeah.
There was one more horror movie shout out. In that oneer, when Shaun walks to the shop, there's a pizza place right next door called Bub's Pizza. And Bub was the military zombie in George Romero's Day of the Dead.
Stop.
Just little horror Easter eggs, especially to Romero and Sam Raimi throughout the film.
For me, there was like a lot of sort of like the sentiment of the birds in there, if that kind of makes sense. I just felt like sort of like this mundane chaos as, you know, kind of people ignore the danger, right?
The birds and also the 70s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers were sort of his two inspirations for slowly letting the audience know something is afoot in the background.
Right. There are half the times, you know, where you want to go back and just, you're just like, don't pay attention to them. Just watch the background the whole time. Just watch the background the whole time. You'll get so much. It's really cool.
So while Shaun's at work, we get to see a visit by his stepfather, played by Bill Nye.
I'm obsessed with him.
I feel like he always plays that same character, and he's so good at it.
I cannot look at him without singing "Christmas is all around you." I mean, I just can't. Like, it's so stupid.
Absolutely phenomenal in how low key he plays a British stepfather in this movie.
Yes.
Dead from the minute he walks onto the screen. Seriously, his back is turned when he's in the store And he just looks like a zombie from
He does
day
the spin.
fucking one. Yeah, yeah, the spin around is so good.
I would say they do really kind of lay that on thick before actual zombies show
Yeah.
up. It's it's waking up hungover and stumbling, and it's all these things. The jump scares, like, which me as someone that really doesn't watch horror movies and is terrified of zombies, I'm like, cut it with the jump scares. Save it for the zombies.
They're done so well, though. I mean, I think that's a huge theme of this film, right? Humanity is zombies and the living dead and everyday apocalypse. I mean, the dead
Oozing.
it's oozing. So yeah,
Yes.
I love that sort of core theme throughout the film.
While he's still at work, he gets a call from Liz, and Liz asks, have you made the dinner reservation? And he's only half paying attention because his 17-year-old coworker is staring him down, and so he doesn't want to look too engaged. So he's like, yep. And so he doesn't even hear her ask, have you made reservations? He has not made reservations.
But now, I don't know why, not that I really talk to people on the phone a lot, but now every time I talk to people on the phone, I want to hang up and go, bye-bye, bye, bye, okay, bye, 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 bye.
I found that so charming.
It's so charming. Every time she calls him or the message is, she's all right, bye, bye-bye, bye, 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 Shaun, bye. It's just so cute.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Shaun leaves work and he buys flowers for his mom. More strange things happening in the background that he's starting to notice, but something always pulls him away. I can't remember if it's here that he runs into Yvonne.
Yeah, because remember, she hugs him and squishes the flowers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And all of the stuff going on in the background with the guy completely collapsed in his car and the ambulance, and they're basically yelling at each other to have to talk, but still are completely oblivious to the background around them. It's really brilliant.
Yvonne, an old friend, played by Jessica Hines, who was also from Spaced and was the co-creator of Spaced, co-writer of Spaced.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was the first of her 3 appearances in the movie. Reading that book, there was sort of, I think she was hoping that she would get Liz's part. Yeah. So they kind of talked about it a little bit, which is,
ouch.
She got a juicy part. She got to play, she got to...
Okay, sure. Her hair looked cool. Her hair and her costuming was better, and her makeup was better.
Such a juicy role, you don't even know when she enters the film. Yes. Love it.
So Shaun gets back to the apartment, frantically tries to book a reservation at a restaurant, fails. And then something I have done ever since 2004, when I get off the phone from a frustrating phone call, back when phones were phones, I would bite the phone. It became a thing where it was just instinct. I would frantically, angrily bite that phone and hurt my teeth. Because it was just such a funny bit. He suggests the Winchester because that's all he can think of is the Winchester. And immediately he heads to her place. They let him in and Liz is angry, and Liz finally says, it's over. She needs more. So it's over. Door slams in his face, holding his mom's flowers, turns around, walks out into the rain. Then we cut to the Winchester, and he and Ed are getting toe up. And Shaun with tears in his eyes the entire scene.
Playing sad music. This is where we are introduced to so many of the fun regulars in the Winchester, which is really fun. So,
yeah, they really do a good job of making people look like absolute freaks in this movie.
Yes, Savannah. The owner of that convenience store is the creepiest looking. He looks dead. I'm like, how did they cast all of these people that seriously look like they are knocking on death's door in this really, but not even but really creepy looking like people.
Yeah, it's like they could be a zombie even before any of the zombie stuff happens. And so, yeah, they're so distinctive looking and weird looking and unsettling that it's even better payoff when they do become zombies. And it's like, whoa, that's the whole package of terror.
Right.
This is great.
At this Winchester scene is probably my favorite callback. One of my favorite callbacks in the movie. It's when we first see the exterior of the Winchester. There's a couple making out in the corner to the right.
Yeah.
And then when they come out drunk, singing White Lines. that same couple is in the corner. Looks like they're still making out. And then as they walk out of frame, we see the guy's head fall off. She's gnawed his throat and his head's barely hanging out. It's one of my favorites.
They don't even rack focus to it. Like you just see it, it's like you just kind of see it plop off in the background and it's just so subtle and perfect. I love that moment.
So many of the shots had to work out so perfectly with them parted a certain way so that you could see what was happening behind them. I mean, I just think about like the blocking and like, the how many times they probably had to shoot certain scenes to make sure that they're like, no, shit, you're blocking it. You were blocking it that time. Y'all got to make sure you're right in these spots. And it's not even like a mark, right? Like this is not my ex and this is not your ex. They're fucking walking. You know what I mean? And you just have, they have to shoot it so perfectly that you see all of that in the background. I would fail as an actor. I would get cast and they would be like, we have to fire her. She's not figuring it out. We got to let her go.
Yeah, I kind of wonder because obviously it works as a filmmaking device so well, but I almost wonder too if it was just like a function of budget as well. It's just like, let's do all these tracking shots. Let's get a lot of information into this one shot and we got to nail it once. And that's 5 scenes we don't have to shoot otherwise.
I think this is what makes Edgar Wright so special because he is a great technical director. He can plan out these unique shots. The movie is filled with them, but at the same time, he can direct comedy. So it's like he's got this really technical part of his brain, but he understands comedy. It's just like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Fucking great technical film with a bunch of cool shots, but really funny. It's one of my favorite movies. He's a unicorn in that sense, and that he has a horn that he had removed when he was 8, other than multiple reasons he's a unicorn. They go back to their flat, continue drinking. Originally, I think it was in one of the drafts of the script that Simon Pegg's character used to be a DJ. And so they're spinning records in the living room and still drinking late at night.
His dancing, Ed's dancing is so good. And this is where his I Got Wood t-shirt really comes in handy. I mean, it's like the stupidest t-shirt. He looks like such an idiot and it's my favorite. And Shaun has his little hat to the side. Like, God, it's so stupid. I love it.
Did you guys have an Ed or maybe still have an Ed in your life? This fuck up friend that brings you joy just because they're so funny. But everyone's like, why do you fucking hang around with that person? Did you have one of those? Because I did.
I'm trying to think. I know I had to.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say on this podcast, Bart.
You can say yes or no.
His name is Bart Shannon. Let me tell you about
Exactly.
God damn it.
God damn it.
That's me. I knew it. No, I used to have one, and he was the life of everybody's party, but he was a thief. He was a crook. He was dishonest. He was all of that. He did not want to work an honest day in his life, but he was so fucking entertaining.
Yeah, I had a friend like that in high school. Everybody loved her. She was awesome. She was really funny. We loved having her around, but we were like, we're kind of sick of driving you around everywhere and letting you borrow every single piece of our clothing. Like, could you just I don't know, reciprocate? And gosh, she just didn't want to work ever. I don't think she ever really held like a real job.
Never underestimate the power of being a good fucking hang. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the moral of that story. Don't work a day in your life. Just be fun as shit at parties.
Yep. And they all burn out fast.
Yeah. There's that. Yeah.
So then their roommate Pete comes down because they're playing music in the middle of the night, and he's yelling at them. We find out that Pete's been bitten by some crackhead on the street. And again, our main characters don't know anything about what's going on, so it's just a bite by a crackhead. But while he's yelling at Ed, he says the line, "Why don't you go live in the shed?" Which becomes a callback later in the film. One of many. But yeah, so Pete's been bitten.
That's not good.
Shaun staggers to the kitchen, writes on the refrigerator, on the sign on the refrigerator to basically get his life together.
The list is go round moms, get Liz back, sort life out.
And he sits down in a chair, and then we see a quick cut from nighttime to daylight. He's slept in that same position, the same chair. He wakes up and he goes into the living room, and Ed's already playing video games. And so he says, "Can I get you anything from the shop?" And Ed says, "A cornetto."
Right.
Which Edgar Wright has said the reason he wrote that in was because that used to be his own hangover cure, were eating cornettos. And so ice cream, which to me sounds disgusting to eat ice cream with a hangover. Mine was always greasy bacon and egg.
Yeah, for sure. Give me some greasy carbs.
Not dessert. Yeah.
That's where we see the post-outbreak oneer, the matching shot to the first one. So he walks in the shop, goes past
Gets a Diet Coke.
Bub's Pizza, gets a Diet Coke. I guess he's previously I think it was a Coke. So he does a little switch.
He does a little switch into the Diet Coke, slips on some blood. Part of his growth.
Part of him getting his life back together.
Yeah. Diet Coke to Coke.
Making different choices. Yeah.
Ignoring the bloody handprints on the refrigerator door, closing the door, immediately slipping in blood, not even looking down. It's hilarious.
And I love that we don't see the blood on the floor.
Love it.
Like, you don't see it. You just know, like, okay, yep, that's just what's happening.
Yep.
And he's not even thinking about it. Yeah.
Great comedic slip, too.
It is.
So he comes back with his Diet Coke and his Cornetto and sits down on the couch. And this is one of those eerie scenes for no reason, just to build that tension. Ed says, "There's a girl in the garden," but he says it from almost like he's wrapped in the shears of the window.
Of the curtain.
Like he's a ghost.
Yeah.
So he says, "There's a girl in the garden," and then Shaun, they come to the window and look outside, and sure enough, there is Mary, our first main zombie of the movie. And Mary makes an appearance in the opening credit sequence as well, working at a supermarket. Already half a zombie.
And I have to add too, but I hadn't seen this movie in so long before rewatching it, and so I'm watching it, and up to this point, up to the girl in the garden, I'm like, I don't really remember that. The minute my memory picks up, it's the girl in the garden, because that's when the horror begins, and I'm like, now I remember everything. And so, but yeah, this is such a good first little taste into what this apocalypse is all about. I think it's great.
This sequence is about as close to perfect, I think, as you're gonna get.
They go outside, and my first thought when he says she is so, I would think he would say she's so high, and he goes, she's so drunk. Which doesn't look like a drunk person in the least. It's staggering around. So she turns around and starts coming towards them, and then eventually attacks Shaun, knocking him to the ground. So Ed goes and gets his disposable camera. Starts taking photos. And so he's fighting her, trying to fight her off, but also laughing because he thinks he's a drunk girl that's just trying to make out with him, I guess. Well, Ed's taking photos.
And I love that later in the scene at some point where something is serious and you just hear the creaking of him. Yes, of him advancing the film.
Shaun's like, stop. Oh, the timing of that. I hope that was totally ad-libbed.
Yeah, seriously. It's perfect.
Crank.
Well, first they go inside, and then a zombie comes through the front door because the door's left open, because Ed always leaves the front door open. They fight off the one-armed
groom?
Zombie
groom?
Yeah.
Who wasn't actually an actor with only one arm.
No.
He's in the first oneer in the background down the aisle when Simon Pegg grabs a drink. He's at the very end of the aisle. So they dispose of him, go back outside. After trying to call the police, they get no answer. And so they go back outside trying to figure out what they're going to do with Mary. And Mary is joined by the big guy, another big zombie. And they start throwing collective items at their heads because they've heard on the news while they were inside that only way to kill the zombies is to remove the head.
Or destroy the brain.
She's already fallen backwards onto a pipe that went through her, and she's gotten up. So they're pretty sure she's a zombie.
Which is another amazing shot as she's standing up with the two of them in the center of the hole in her body in frame. So
great
perfect.
VFX shot. It kind of reminded me of, do you remember Death Becomes Her? There's a shot like that.
Oh my God, stop.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. So iconic scene from the battling of Mary and the big guy. They eventually go get Shaun's record collection and start trying to fight off the zombies by throwing, which is so fucking stupid and so fucking funny at the same time.
So dumb. Because it's exactly what they would do. It's like, wait, what did you just throw? That was original pressing of Blue Monday. Oh my God. It's like, not that Dire Straits, yes, but not the Blue Monday.
The Batman soundtrack, toss it. The best part is they're just flipping through, looking, having this discussion, and the zombies are going so fucking slow that they're still nowhere near them them after they've gone through an entire sheath of just mounds of records trying to decide what they're going to throw.
That is one thing I do notice throughout the movie. Obviously, it's because it's a movie, but I'm like, it seems like the one thing that holds zombies off best is just arguing. You can hold them off for just like 20 minutes by arguing. But the minute you stop arguing, there they are. They're
There
on
they
you.
are.
If you don't give them the proper attention they deserve,
Yes,
they don't know what to
exactly.
do.
Right. So they're just waiting for their moment to butt in. They don't want to interrupt, but they're British zombies.
I kind of have the same trait. If I'm not getting enough attention, I'm just sort of staggering around in a circle, not knowing what to do.
Apparently, too, I read that an interviewer asked why they chose to have the zombies moving so slowly throughout it instead of like having running zombies. And Simon Pegg apparently replied, because death is not an energy drink.
I don't like a fast zombie. I don't like a fast zombie.
I bet you don't,
Mm-mm.
Savannah.
It's just, it ain't natural. It ain't natural.
I have softened on the debate as I've gotten older. When I first saw, I guess it was Dawn of the Dead, the remake with fast zombies, or maybe it was, I can't remember which one I saw. They were made in the same year, that or 21 Days Later.
It's 21 Days Later that had the fast ones.
Yeah, so they were both, they were fast in both. But I was kind of offended at first, but now I'm not, because those are outbreak zombies. They've got a virus, and they're scary as shit that these things come at you super fast.
Right. It's like The Last of Us zombies. Savannah, I bet you haven't watched that show.
Absolutely not. Nope. I mean, this is like the only zombie movie that I can make myself watch. I mean, literally. And it's just because it is that perfect blend of horror and comedy. It makes the medicine go down.
Let's see. They're realizing the records aren't working. Big surprise. They're not being able to break these zombie skulls with vinyl.
Right.
So Shaun busts into the tool shed and grabs a cricket bat and a shovel.
Mm-hmm.
And Ed asks, which one do you want? And Shaun, I can't remember how he says it, but he wants the girl.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like the girl.
But I love how they switch sides. Like, I'll take her. And so it's like, okay, well, here, you come at it from the other side. So they dispose of them.
Pummel. Like just pummel.
And I love that shot goes on for so long. And you just hear the squishing of their brains under, and it's like, and I love it too, because it just goes on too long. And you can tell this is their first kill.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't see the victims ever. You just, they're just beating the shit out of them.
Yep.
To paraphrase the Beastie Boys, they rock a house party at the drop of a hat. They beat a body down with a wooden cricket bat.
Ayo. Yep.
Yes.
All right. So they're back inside. They realize that things are afoul. And so they're watching television now, and a great shot where they're flipping through the television and flipping all these different channels, and each piece of dialogue creates a narration of what's actually happening. And
That's so cool.
Go to a music channel and they say something, and then it says what's happening, that there's a zombie outbreak.
And then the nature channel where they're like, eaten alive.
So this is when Shaun realizes he needs to check on his mom. So he calls his mom, and she says that Philip's been bitten. So he's panicked. She's like, stay there, Mom. Don't leave the house. And we'll come
in a
over
very
there.
funny way. Like, they're like, Mom, are you okay? And she's like, everything's fine. And he's like, well, Philip's been bitten. He's like, oh, okay. And then Ed comes over and it's like, what happened? Was she bitten? No, Philip was. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Like, we don't care about Philip.
Both of them are very relaxed about Philip being bitten. Right. And then we get another George Romero shout out when they're hanging up the phone. Ed yells, we're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I caught that one.
They decide to take Pete's car. They realize Pete is probably still in the house, and so they call up to the stairs to ask if Pete is there.
But they're very timid in this, because what they've heard on the news is if you know somebody who's been bitten, that's how this can happen. And all of a sudden they both just like take a shot upstairs. They both look upstairs like, oh shit, Pete's been bitten, and they're like at the bottom of the stairs, Pete.
Ed says, hey, prick.
And he doesn't
since he didn't answer, they're like, oh, he's not
home.
Yeah. That was some scientific shit right there on how to deduce if someone's not home. I said the word prick. He's not here. So I'm going to go upstairs and get ready before we go.
Right.
He goes upstairs, and that's when we get our second mirror shot of Pete, which he closes the mirror, and then you see the shadow behind the shower curtain.
Which is very psycho.
Very psycho. Creepy scene. Pulls back the shower curtain, and there's Pete dead standing in the shower. There is an Evil Dead 2 reference here. Oh, he says to Pete as he's backing away towards the door, as Pete's coming to him, he says, "We're going to my mom's house. Maybe you could join us." And join us is what the Deadites say in Evil Dead 2. Join us.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that, you don't get a naked zombie very often.
Mm.
You
It
know,
is for like
it's
just
a weird moment to
naked.
make the change. And I love that though, because then they have to he's naked when he shows up, as a zombie throughout.
And nobody seems to be like bothered by it. Nobody's like not trying to look at him because he's naked. They just are disturbed because he's a zombie. Even when he shows up later, he's just naked. I mean, you never see him obviously from the waist down.
There's always something strategically placed in front of his genitalia.
Right. Right.
Here is where a plan is concocted. Another just amazing, famous scene from this movie where Shaun pitches the plan to go to Mom's house, kill Philip, grab Liz, have a spot of tea, wait till it all blows over. They just keep adapting, and then eventually it's go to Mom's house, kill Philip, grab Liz, head to the Winchester, wait till it all blows over. And so once the plan is finally perfected, Simon Pegg says, "How's that for a slice of fried gold?"
It's so good. So good.
Which Nick Frost's Instagram account is Fried Gold.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love
So if
that.
you want to follow Nick Frost.
Follow
it's
Nick
Fried
Frost.
Gold.
It's fried gold.
So they take Pete's car and they head to Mom's house to try to save Mom and murder Philip.
Sorry, Philip.
There's also a fantastic line. So he's in the kitchen. He's basically asking his mom if she loves Philip, and you get a sense of what it's like. They've had issues since they were young, and he's trying to get his mom to accept the fact that he's going to kill Philip, and then he says, "What if I told you that he touched me?" And she's making sandwiches, and she puts the knife down, and she just turns around and looks at him. He's like, that is not true.
That's one of my favorite.
That was a lie. That was a lie. Can we talk for a second about how amazing this mom character is? She's so
great.
Gloriously oblivious and just sweetie pie. She's so sweet. I'm gonna make some sandwiches. I mean, she's just this quintessential kind. I didn't want to be a bother. Philip's been bitten. I'm fine.
Doesn't she say like that the zombies they were a bit bitey?
They were a bit bitey.
Yeah, they were a bit bitey.
Yeah,
bitey. Yeah.
It's so funny. I mean, she's just so precious, which makes what happens later so fucking awful, but she is really precious. But in this moment, Bart, she straight up turns around and tells Shaun what's what.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cool moment for Bart. We're coming to get you, Barbara.
Shaun goes into the living room where Philip is sitting in a chair in perfect British lightout, is really not fazed by this bite that he has. This is where the plan starts to fall apart because Shaun's obviously not going to kill Philip because Philip is not a zombie. He's talking and he doesn't have the chutzpah to whack him in the head. So he coerces his mom and Philip to leave, and they go outside to take separate cars to get to a more safe location. And that's when we find out that Ed's character has, in a very short amount of time, totally crashed their Pete's car.
Yeah, which because he wants to take the Jag, let's be real.
Right.
He
purpose.
just straight up wrecked that thing because he's like, oh no, look what happened. We have to take Philip's amazing fucking Jaguar. Is this also a good time to talk about the fact that Ed has this really awkward crush on Barbara?
I don't think I caught that.
When he's on the phone earlier, he's like, well, Liz rang and wanted to know if you wanted to eat out. And then your mom rang and wanted to know if I wanted to eat her out. And then he's like, wait,
that's
what?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, he says all of these things. Like, he's like, Barbara comes out during this scene. He's like, oh, Ed, you've really grown. And he's like, you have no idea, Barbara. Like all of these lines. I'm like, Ed, it's Barbara.
I guess I was getting more of a Sean Connery on Celebrity Jeopardy, like, oh, that's not what your mother said last night, Trebek. Like, that's kind of how I was hearing it more. But,
But yeah, because it is a smidge like, stop it, Ed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That is a bridge too far.
To be fair, as being a dude, growing up around dudes, the running joke of having sex with your friend's mom is an ongoing joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always hilarious. Always funny.
I can remember when my mom found out about it. She thought it was so funny.
I'm sure she did.
So funny. So at this point, there's a group of zombies that get the jump on them as they're all arguing over the car situation. One of them bites Philip again, this time a giant chunk out of his neck. So now they all have to take the Jag, which was Ed's goal in the first place. So they all pile into the Jaguar. Ed puts in his tape at full volume as well. Philip's in the back saying, could you turn this off? Could you turn this off? And then Barbara goes, it is a bit loud. Can you turn it off? He goes, okay, Barbara, and just turns it off immediately because she asks.
Right.
So they're on their way to Liz's apartment to try to grab Liz to take her back to the Winchester with them. This is the scene, that callback scene where he does climb up through the window because they won't let him in. So he climbs up through the window, comes inside, basically says, this is not about you or I. This is about survival.
Mm-hmm.
And so she believes it. And David, the asshole friend who's got a crush on Liz, doesn't want to go anywhere. But then he finds out Liz is going to go. So he's like, okay, I'll go. Yeah. So they all go downstairs to pile into the Jaguar, into a single car. What are we looking at here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 people.
7 people.
At a Jaguar. And one of them is dying.
Yeah, one of them's about to be a zombie like any minute now. Yeah, that's the one thing I like. That, like moments like that, I'm just screaming at them like, "No, push him out of the car! What are you doing?
Oh my God.
You don't even have enough room for everybody anyway." Like, yeah.
But it allows for our first real moment of sincerity, and it allows for our first kind of introduction to Shaun possibly getting it, right? Growing up, understanding. Simon Pegg's acting in this scene is really wonderful.
Oh, yeah. And Bill Nye, I read that he was allowed the flexibility in this scene to say it how he wanted to say it, about being a stepfather and how hard it is to be a parent. And so he said that really touching scene about, I just wanted to be that person for you. And I knew you had it in you. And we're seeing it instead of the two-dimensional stepdad, we're seeing a little layer to it.
Yeah.
And a little fall.
And Shaun and Philip are right next to each other in the car in these close quarters. And so the closeness of it is also the closeness of it, right? I mean, they are right beside each other's faces.
So he starts trying to get Ed to pull over, and Ed's driving like a maniac and won't listen. And then he says, because Philip's gone. And then they stop the car, and Shaun's mom says, no, he's not. He's right there. And great shot. They all turn, and he's alive. He's a zombie.
And see, then push him out of the car. And you do that.
Yeah, this is one of those extreme bonehead, like, in a script. If they did 10 versions of the script, I mean, how many versions did they go, no, this is fine. No, this is fine.
Yeah.
So they all panic, get out of the car, and leave the zombie in the Jaguar while they stand in the streets surrounded by zombies.
Their only means of transportation.
And they instead of just opening the door and letting him lumber out, they decide to just scrap it and go on foot. How many versions do they go? Are we still good with that? Yeah, it makes total sense to me.
That makes sense. That's what I would do. That's what I would do.
Back to like early in the movie when they were trying to leave their apartment, when Ed calls them zombies, and Shaun goes, "Don't say that," and he goes, "What?" He goes,
the Z word.
The Z word.
Right.
It's like it makes it too real to say the Z word. Now they're on foot. Going through backyards and gardens, trying to find their way to the Winchester.
And they pass the mirror group.
They're doppelgangers. That's where they run into Jessica Hines and her group of doppelgangers. Which, before we discuss this, do you remember Bizarro Jerry, the episode of Seinfeld where they all run into the street? They're doppelgangers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
The only thing I remember is Kramer's doppelganger's name was Feldman, which is a very good Kramer type name.
Yes.
But they all do introductions. They all see each other. There's Declan is Martin Freeman, best known from The British Office and The Hobbit. Reese Shearsmith is the Mark doppelganger, or the counterpart to David, I'm sorry. And he's known from League of Gentlemen. What's all this shouting? There'll be no shouting here. Julia Deacon is Yvonne's mom, who is the counterpart to Shaun's mom. She was the landlord in Spaced, so yet another Spaced counterpart. Maggie, which is Tasman Gregg, the counterpart to Diane. She was in Black Books. And then Oliver is Matt Lucas from Little Britain, who is Ed's counterpart.
Oh my God. It's so
Who's wearing a
funny.
T-shirt, which was one of the original shirts they were going to use for Ed's character before they went with God Wood. And I'll just skip saying it. You could just watch it. They found it too offensive to use as his main shirt for the entire movie. So the two characters from the British Office that created Jim and Pam on the American Office.
Yeah.
Dawn and Tim. Yeah.
Tim and Dawn became Jim and Pam. Yeah. That is like a who's who of British comedy.
Yeah.
I was like, are there only like 10 of you actors in this entire country?
They all file by each other and they say hello.
And they
to
say
their-
hello to their counterpart, which is really interesting.
This little scene too has another bit, like my favorite bit of physical comedy, where it's like, they see all these fences that they have to get over to get to the Winchester. And this is where Shaun tries to be a badass because, David's like, well, how are we going to get over that? He's like, check this out. And it just does the perfect, like, falls over the fence and, like, knocks over. It's brilliant. Love it. Love it. Love it.
It just crumbles underneath him.
So good. They recreated the exact same scene in Hot Fuzz.
Hot
the second
Fuzz.
movie.
They did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Love it so
He was
much.
gonna hurdle the fence. Instead, the fence just falls with him.
Yeah.
Just collapsed to the ground.
And it's just the little shit-eating look he gives beforehand that just is, mwah. It's so perfect.
It's so good.
That which they go through the backyards. This gets to one of my favorite scenes in the movie, performance-wise.
Yes.
So
Okay.
he says he needs to see if the coast is clear. And so Simon Pegg walks up a child's set of stairs to a slide in tiny baby steps.
Grabbing onto
He
the side.
Does
Just
that
a
so
little-
well. The little hop, 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 hop. Gets up, then hop, 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 comes back down. And Liz says, is it clear? And he says, no. And she says, how many? And he says, lots.
And then they pan up.
There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds,
Uh-huh.
all in front of the
Yes.
Winchester.
What's funny is that apparently they would have been just fine behind the fence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
This is a fun part too. I like this part too,
Yes.
where they just had to go back
For
to
the theater kids.
the theater
kids will
nerds.
love this scene. Yeah.
where
love it.
where they go back and they try to learn how to be a zombie.
Yep.
Mhm.
They mentioned earlier, Shaun says something about, I never called Diane a failed actress. And so she's the actress who gets to teach them how to be zombies.
Mhm.
Which
So-
is so good. And I made the note, like, I love her note to them that is like, just look vacant and sad, like a drunk who's lost a bet. Like, that's what zombies look like. And I'm like, that's pretty damn close. I like that. Yeah.
That actor who plays the zombie,
Peter.
I can't remember his name, but he's so funny.
Yep.
And of course he's tacked up. He's still alive, right? But he's tacked up and can't move. So that's how they're able to study how to be a zombie because he's alive, but he's not going to hurt them because he can't get to them.
As I guess
Yes.
he's impaled to the tree.
Well, because he tries to knock him out with like the tether ball thing. Like, no, don't knock him with the ball. I like hit him with this huge metal pole. Yeah. So,
Stupid.
yeah, I love when they reveal how they're like each of them they go out into the zombie, apocalypse acting like zombies. And my favorite is, do y'all notice how the mom acts like a zombie? No, she's doing this the whole time. Like a ghost.
Right, right. She's literally just Barbara and she's going,
Cracks me up.
So they do the zombie walk to the Winchester. They make it to the Winchester, and then the door's locked. No one answers the door. David throws the trash can through the window. Sitting
Awesome.
inside. Great
Awesome.
idea.
Good
Great
job,
idea.
David.
Yep.
Thanks, Dave.
Some of his best work. And so Shaun says, well, that we can't go in now because they'll follow us in. So he says, I'm going to lead them away. So they'll follow me. Then you guys go in. So Shaun runs through the crowd, a very brave move. He just runs straight into a crowd of zombies and they begin to follow him away from the door. So the group is able to go inside the Winchester. Somebody's got an arc happening here. Somebody's,
Exactly.
somebody's growing a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you know what? His lady's noticing.
I think
She's
she is.
noticing.
She is. She
Mhm.
sure is.
Starting to soften a little bit.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Zombie outbreak doesn't mean you can't appreciate a man's growth.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Way to go, Liz. Way to go, Liz.
Uh-huh.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye bye. Okay, bye, Shaun. Bye.
So Shaun runs off. They get inside and they start trying to figure out a plan. Immediately start arguing that Shaun is not going to come back because he's never honored his word in the first place, which I don't think it's really up to him at this point. If it doesn't come back, it's
Right.
Because
not
he's
really.
dead.
Yeah,
He's not
because
ditching y'all. Yeah,
he's
exactly.
had his face eaten off. Exactly.
hmm
So then David starts challenging all of Shaun's decisions. Liz starts kind of questioning Shaun's priorities. Ed's saying, we got everything we need here. We got booze. We've got pork snacks. David starts saying, well, this is not enough. This is ridiculous. Starts throwing the snacks around. He throws one snack in the air, and then it's grabbed out of the air by Shaun, who has returned.
The hero's back.
Not only has he returned, but he can catch shit like a boss now. So
boss.
I think that is signaling to the audience, like, oh, this is no longer little wee Shaun from earlier in the movie. Now he's a certified badass.
So at this time, where they're trying to figure out how to turn on the electricity, and Shaun says, well, we use the breaker. It's in the back, and he goes to the back to flip the breakers on and flips on. A great shot of just flipping on breakers and lights turning on, and then there's a light on the back door, and all the zombies have followed him. And so they're all at the back door. And he knows eventually they're going to get in, so he closes the door behind him. And then as he closes the door, we see that there's another zombie in the building as well. So maybe they're not in the safest place that they thought they would be, with a broken window and zombies about to come into the back. Shaun.
He tried. He
He
tried.
did try. I think, in fact, that is the conversation they have later.
That they
right?
have later.
Yeah. Another iconic scene is when the owner of the Winchester's undead version of himself attacks the group inside the Winchester. They're fighting him off. The jukebox just starts on random, because that's another callback to earlier. The jukebox just starts on random. It is Queen's Don't Stop Me Now, which Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright had written Brian May for permission to use the song because they had already choreographed
The whole
to the
thing.
song. So they're like, no, we have to have that song because we've already choreographed to that song. So he gave them permission.
So
and they
that's
will
where
use it.
half of the budget went. Now
Half
we
the
know.
budget went. Yeah, no kidding.
And y'all told me, because I'm probably just not thinking of scenes like this, but this feels like almost one of a really early, because this kind of technique is used a lot now. It's like, the tone of this song does not match the tone of what the action is. Had that been done a lot before this movie?
It had not a lot. The first movie I ever saw that did it was Halloween 2. At the end credits, the song is Mr. Sandman. So it's like they're all burnt. The building's burning. You think Michael's burning to death, and Mr. Sandman.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember even as a kid just thinking, wow, that works so well because it doesn't match the scene. So it had happened.
But I guess to this degree of
Right.
the choreography, and it's that, because I feel like, it's used so much more now, but I'm like, I wonder if they kind of were the modern precursor to that device being used a lot now in trailers and things like that.
Because they're literally hitting in time to the music,
beat.
right? Boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like everything is beautifully choreographed.
And I love it. I mean, again, as somebody that is terrified of zombie movies, especially really big scenes like that, it just took the edge off. You can enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can, it's just a very well done scene.
It's a moment for non-horror fans to enjoy that choreography, the funny, and then right before things get dark again.
Right.
Yeah. They dispose of the owner of the Winchester by smashing his head through the jukebox, which kills the queen, to reference Simon Pegg's line when he was trying to get him to turn off the jukebox. He said, kill the queen. So he's dead. His wife comes through the back door as well, and she gets disposed of. So then once that happens, then they're allowed space to get dramatic with the mom. So Barbara's been hiding something for about 20 minutes of screen time, and we all kind of know it's probably what's going on. So Barbara's been bitten. Liz grabs Shaun, brings him over, and he finds out that his mom's been bitten. For a movie that's a comedy with a lot of zombies in it, it's a very sad scene. So his mom has been bitten, and immediately David, who says he's a pacifist, and that's why he won't use the Winchester, which they have earlier discovered does work, and will not shoot zombies because he's a pacifist, immediately finds a way to not be a pacifist and points the gun at Shaun's mother, saying that she is going to turn and wants to shoot Shaun's mom. Not surprisingly, everyone is very upset about. And he said, you know what's going to happen? She's going to turn. We have to do this. And there is a great scene. It's a great bunch of shots where Shaun smashes a bottle and holds it up to David. Nick Frost smashes a bottle, holds it up to David. And then Lucy Davis' character, I can't remember what she says, like, this is not fair or something. So they hand her a broken bottle so she can hold it to Shaun. And there's a hard pan back and forth. It's from behind David. And as each, like Simon Pegg says a line and then Nick Frost says a line, it just builds so much tension. Shaun takes the gun. So Shaun's got to kill his own mom. So they're having this conversation and she raises up in the frame behind them. So we have to address it like now. So he has to shoot his own mother, and not something you see a lot of in a comedy film.
I mean, seriously, it's a comedy and you don't even really think twice about that.
By the time when they become a zombie, you're scared of them. Like, it's not like you're like, oh, that's too bad. It's like, okay, no, she's going to kill us. It's quick. It's rip the Band-Aid off.
I read this online that after Barbara dies, and we go through that scene, which I know we haven't finished talking about, but there were jokes and they were so emotional on set. Like Simon Pegg really cried and Nick Frost really cried when they did that scene that the jokes didn't feel right anymore. And so they just on set just scratched the jokes and said, if they need this time to breathe, the audience is going to need this time to breathe too. And so they just nixed all those jokes. Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
And it is smart too, because it's seamless. Like, you do feel, when it does get heavy, but it never feels like, well, that was weird. And now we're shifting right out of this. Like, it's pretty seamless. It's a testament to them that I didn't really notice that.
It is.
Yep.
I mean, even after he has to kill her.
Yep.
But there's such a sharp turn into the next piece of action that you, as a viewer, you have to move on too.
They do a good job of, like, it's relying on that snap fear of like, she's a zombie, bam, her head explodes, and now we're on. Like,
and they do the same thing with Philip, right? That sincere moment, but they immediately have to switch into survival because he's going to kill them in the car with the child locks.
Yeah.
So yeah, Barbara reanimates as a zombie. Shaun is forced to kill his mom with the rifle. I'd forgotten what comes next. When Shaun drops the rifle to the floor, I thought, why did he drop it to the floor? And then the reason he dropped it to the floor is so David could pick the rifle up and point it at Shaun. Pulls the trigger, was going to try to kill Shaun, and there's no shell in the chamber. So he was going to try to murder the guy right there, right then and there, the pacifist was.
And now we fully know how to feel about David.
Yeah.
Right. We fully get it then.
Right.
And luckily, we don't have to deal with his ass for very long. So that's great.
And we've all known a David or two as well. We've all known an Ed, but we've all known multiple Davids. David, he decides he's just going to leave. He backs up against the windows. The zombies break through the windows and pull him out into the horde and rip him apart.
I did not remember that part of the movie whatsoever. I was like, holy shit.
I didn't either. I did not remember that his death was so gory. I mean, I remember sitting there with Jackson watching it and he goes, Jesus, because it's like, it's really the first time somebody dies that feels like a horror film moment. I mean, they pull his insides out and fight over them.
Yeah.
And they're hanging
It's a
out.
next level.
It is next level. And the only reason you're not mad about it is because it's David. And now we hate him.
It's a total dick.
It's a total dick.
This shot was totally pulled from George Romero's Day of the Dead, where the biggest prick in that movie gets killed the exact same way. And they rip out his entrails and they pull out his entrails while he's still, dying, looking at them, eating his entrails.
And they pull his legs off.
Yes.
Lucy Davis opens the doors and says, I'm coming for you, David. And takes his legs and is fighting off the zombies with his severed legs.
Yeah.
And goes straight into the zombie horde. She didn't seem like she cared for him that much for the last hour, but now she's going to try to save his dead body.
That's the only part where I'm kind of like, okay, you clearly just needed to get rid of her.
Yeah.
And that was just like, okay, she goes out to kind of find him. Okay,
I don't know. I think if you go back and you watch it, my opinion is that Lucy was in love with David. And that's why whenever he mentions it, like when they're in her apartment, Shaun says to David at the beginning of the movie, well, why don't you just admit it, like you're in love with her or whatever, or you just want to be with Liz, and leaves. And then he's like, well, I don't know what he meant by that. And he looks at Lucy, and if you notice, Lucy is just kind of looking down and over.
See, I thought that they were together.
I think they are because, again, they mention it twice. That's the first scene. The second scene, this is in the bar, and Shaun says, come on, everybody knows you had things for Liz. And Diane says, I know you did. And when she dumped you, I was there.
To pick up the pieces.
But see, I did not think they were a couple.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
I just always assumed they were.
I personally don't think they're a couple in the movie. She knows David is in love with Liz, and I just don't see them as a couple in the movie. I think when she says, I was there to pick up the pieces, it was as your friend. So I think she feels about David the way David feels about Liz. I think it's a triangle. They don't hold hands. They don't ever seem like a legitimate couple.
You're right. There's no physical proof
There's
that they're a
nothing.
couple. There's not even a line that says they're a couple.
Nope.
They're just Liz's friends.
That's right.
You know, maybe I should stop assuming things, Lindsey. It gives me food for thought for the rest of my life.
I assumed it, I mean.
Yeah. Maybe like 29-year-old Shaun, I got a little growing up to do.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
Let's get Edgar Wright on the horn. We need to
exactly.
flesh this thing out. Something's not right here. Diane opens the doors like a schmuck, and so now the entire Winchester has been breached, and the zombies flood inside. Ed, Liz, and Shaun try to fight off the zombies, and then Pete returns.
Naked old Pete. Peter.
Still naked. Yep.
Still naked, still dead. They get the jump on Ed, and who's the one who takes the first bite out of Ed? It's Pete. The man who's had animosity towards him since the beginning, and he gets the first bite. Liz and Shaun jump behind the bar, eventually joined by a very bloody, bitten Ed. For the first time that we find out that there's a basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shells of the rifle are left on the bar that they've set on fire with a Molotov cocktail, and now the bullets are burning. How can we sleep when the bullets are burning? And so the bullets start going off, shooting various places, hitting a couple of zombies, and that's when they decide to go down into the basement, which I would assume is the Night of the Living Dead shout out.
It also kind of looks like that hole in the floor in Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Where the grandmother
Someone's in my
is.
fruit cellar with fresh souls.
What does she say? What's her line?
Dead by dawn. Dead by dawn.
Dead by dawn.
Dead by dawn. So they go to the basement. This is the scene where, is this where Shaun says, like, I fucking ruined it. I just wanted to do the right thing, and everyone died. And this is where Liz said, you tried, you did something.
You did something. Yes. And what I love about that line too is that off screen, we hear Ed say, okay, that's it. I'd like to be shot. Because it's like they're getting all lovey-dovey. And I love it. Because this is also,
okay.
I remember this is also 2004 when you could use like the gay as like, you know,
right.
I love that. That's a callback too. He says it earlier in the film. And then when they're actually like making their way out of the basement and he's still down there, he's like, gay.
They realize there's only 2 shells left, and they're talking about how they're going to off each other. Ed says, well, I'd rather just be ripped apart by zombies. So, you guys. So Liz and Shaun are deciding, do you shoot me? And then I shoot myself. Do I shoot you? And then you shoot yourself. And then that's when there's a light.
Oh, no, they go to smoke a cigarette. So
the final fag.
Yeah.
So they decided to smoke the cigarettes that Shaun had thrown away earlier, and Liz still has them. And he said, I thought I threw those away. And she said, I was desperate. So she decided to keep them, and they have a cigarette. They all 3 share a cigarette. And when they light up the smokes, they see that there is an elevator control panel. And so they say goodbye to, is that where he says gay? Where he says, I love you, and he goes, gay.
Gay. But I love it. It's just like, it's all off screen. It's just Ed off screen saying these things. And
the first time he says gay, it's actually him saying, well, I love Liz.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
They leave Ed in the basement, take the elevator up to the first floor, and they make a break for it outside. And as they get outside, flash of bright lights, and immediately in the midst of all of the continued zombie onslaught, the military shows up and just starts blasting zombies left and right. This is, especially now, people, and where we live in history, horror movies don't scare me, but the military showing up in fucking zombie movies scares me.
Really?
But yeah, it does. Now, at this point in history, when the military is being sent to cities, it scares the shit out of me, because I can watch a movie where heads get ripped off, but it's the military showing up to take control is what scares me.
Interesting. And I'm sitting there thinking, how do they know not to shoot Shaun and Liz?
Yeah.
That's all I was thinking about.
Infrared cameras.
Right.
The way it's shot too. I mean, it's like the military shows up. They run over zombies, which the way that that's edited, you almost think that they've hit Liz and Shaun. And so, and it's just chaos. And yeah, they're just firing willy-nilly. And you think that this is going to be the end of the movie. Just like, oh, well, everyone's dead now. Cool. But no, it's like somehow they get missed and then Yvonne shows up.
Did they shoot it willy-nilly?
You can't see.
Willy-nilly got shot?
It feels chaotic.
Yeah.
I was trying to make an airplane type joke, but it...
sorry.
Buddy bailed out over Macho Grande? No, I don't think I'll ever get over
No.
Macho Grande. It's Airplane 2, I think.
Yes.
Yvonne shows up again and says, hey, they're taking us to a place that's safe. Are you the only two left? And Shaun says, yeah. And she says, well, it's good that you made it.
Does she still have her golf club?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it just cracks me up the whole time. She survived by using a golf club the entire movie and still does. Still bringing that golf club.
Shaun never asks her if her group made it, right?
I think he just assumes, right? I mean, she's just there by herself, so.
I don't know. There's a part of my brain assumed that she was a little more put together than he was, and somehow she made it work, and he didn't, and they were alive.
Because I was sort of that too. It's like, that seems like a weird detail. Since we've introduced all these other characters.
Exactly.
Maybe they are, and maybe they're just in a safe space, because when they're introduced as that sort of mirror image of each other, they look very much more put together and ready for the apocalypse than Shaun's group.
And like they acknowledge that they're the superior group almost with their looks. They're kind of like, hi, hey,
good luck.
But yeah, I would say
maybe.
that's probably my only like weird part about this. I feel like the very end, it's like they're just trying to wrap it up. It's like, okay, this is now this part's going to be solved, and yeah, so it feels a little rushed to me, but you know.
So yeah, right after that, there's some sort of transitional shot, and then we cut straight to Liz and Shaun's apartment, which is the, former Pete and Shaun's apartment, and now it's Liz and Shaun's, and she's watching television as they're talking about the aftermath. I think it's mentioned it's six months later, and humans doing what humans do. So now they have exploited the zombies for reality television
And cheap labor. But the thing is, they're back in the grocery stores working. They're back doing their jobs that they were doing before. They're just doing them now as legit zombies instead of the living dead.
Again, so believable, like as far as how they present it, where it's like, yeah, okay, we're talking about how we're dealing with these zombies, but then it's like, then they go, she's flipping the tail, and there's Coldplay talking about how, we're doing a concert for like Zombie or something. It's like a zombie relief effort. It's like, of course, it's like, this is just the most crass commercialization of this horribly traumatic event in human history.
Exactly. And let's not just gloss over the fact that Chris Martin is in this movie.
Yes, exactly.
Let's just not gloss over that. Like, that is for real Chris Martin. He's a zombie too.
He's a zombie as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a
He's
cameo
in
as
it a couple
zombie.
times. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I missed that.
Which I'm going to say it now just because I won't remember it later, and I forgot it earlier. When the movie was over, Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg sent this movie to George Romero because they wanted his blessing for it. And so he watched it in this theater in Florida, called them and said, I loved it. It was great. And he asked them to play zombies in Land of the Dead, his next zombie movie. So Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright get to play their zombies in his next movie.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so
That's
cool.
great.
All that
I
fun
love
stuff.
that.
So yeah, so here we are, callbacks again, callbacks aplenty. We get to see the dolly up shot of Shaun, his feet coming into frame, comes up, he yawns, you think he's a zombie. He comes into the living room, Liz is watching television, sits down, they plan their day, they talk about all the things they're going to do for the day. So they've made it work.
And kudos to one for not having crippling PTSD after all this.
Kudos.
Somehow. I mean, it's like, wow, they're doing good. They're doing great.
The Brits recover way faster than we do.
Yeah. That was another thing I thought of too. Is like, man, if this was not a British film, it's like all the guns. We just would have had all the guns. There's one gun in this film.
Yep.
And I
Right.
think that's astounding. It's like, wow, we do have very different countries, and nobody knows how to use it. Nobody,
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. We also don't know how many people actually did not turn into zombies. The only other group we see is Yvonne and her
Yvonne and her
gang.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they plan their day, and then Shaun says, I might pop out to the shed for a bit.
The garden. The garden.
He says the garden?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, he does say the garden because it'd be too on the nose if he says the shed.
Mm-hmm.
So next shot, he's coming into the shed. You hear video game in the background.
Player 2 has entered the game.
Player 2 has entered the game. He sits down. We see Ed is chained to the wall of the shed, which is where Pete said he should be living in the first place. And Shaun has kept him as his zombie buddy so he can play video games with him.
Doing the exact same thing they did before.
That's right.
I mean,
Yep.
literally.
And cue the second Queen song of the movie.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder too, did they do it on purpose that Ed has the recurring thing of doing the orangutan impression?
Right.
And then at the end, when he's a zombie, it's basically he's the orangutan guy.
Right.
The orangutan is something that Nick Frost has always done. And back when they all worked together, Edgar Wright would say, hey, do your Clyde. And he would always say, I'm not your performing monkey, which is what he says in the movie as well. They wrote that in specifically for him, knowing that he does a great Clyde impersonation.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
And he's just as endearing as a zombie, isn't he?
Mhm.
Maybe even a little bit more.
A little more, maybe. Yeah. He
Mhm.
tries to bite Shaun's arm, and Shaun just goes like,
Stop,
Ed.
stop,
And so he
Ed.
stops, like, rude. And he starts
Sorry.
poking at the controllers of the video game.
Yeah. It almost
Mhm.
has this like young Frankenstein kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Peter Boylish.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mhm.
Tone-wise, perfect ending.
Yeah.
For what this film was, to keep it light. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't end dark. Sure, Ed died, but he's still going to be that same loser friend that he always was. And that's Shaun of the Dead.
Woohoo!
was
So
it.
good. Something that we have said throughout our entire time together here today is, oh, I need to go back and watch it. And oh, I remember seeing this in 2004. Oh, and I saw it a couple years later. I saw it in the theater. I've watched it so many times. What do you think makes this film worth so many multiple viewings? What makes it so rewatchable? Why has it remained a beloved film? You know, what elements help it endure?
I mean, I think at the core, it's a really good buddy comedy. And just that's something that's enduring, period, and inherently rewatchable generally. But also the fact that there is so much controlled chaos throughout this movie because there's so many things going on. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so yeah, you there's room to get new things every time.
Yeah. I mean, we've even said today, Savannah, listening to Bart talk, we go, oh, I missed that. Now I got to go back and watch it again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on. There's so many callbacks. There's so much layering. There's so many gags. There's so many references to great, movies, going back and being like, oh my God, look, there's Chris Martin again, or there's all of those elements, I think, that make it just so rewatchable and so worthy of sitting down again. And it's also not like one of those films that are now where you're like, well, it's really good, but you got to sit down for its 3 hour, it's a
Right,
3 hour
right.
ordeal. Yeah, it's so
Mhm.
quick. It's such an easy watch.
I think for me, why it works, and I will always recommend it. And this is a niche answer because I'm looking at it as perspective of people who love comedies and love horror. And that's not everybody, but for those of us who just love both of those genres to death, pun intended, it's the perfect blend.
Mm-hmm.
All the comedy works, and
Mhm.
it's so rewatchable, the comedy of it, and all of the horror works.
Mhm.
I think Edgar Wright called it the Cornetto trilogy. He called genre films with elements. So this is a genre film with zombies. Hot Fuzz is a genre film with a cult. World End is a genre film with aliens. Yeah, kinda, but also it's a really good zombie movie too.
Right.
But for people that love comedy, love horror, and love them equally, Jesus, I I just can't think of a film that I can watch more and over and over and over and over again like I can this one. And I did think, since I saw it at Halloween last year, I thought I was going to kind of skip through it yesterday when I watched it. I didn't. I watched the whole thing.
So it is interesting you saying that. I read in March 2011, the movie was voted by BBC Radio 1 and BBC Radio 1 Extra, their listeners, as their second favorite movie of all time. Their number one was Shawshank Redemption.
Hilarious comedy. Great. Shawshank Redemption. Yes. Uh-huh.
That another hilarious comedy horror. So Simon Pegg has made it clear that he opposes any reboot or remake, calling such an act disrespectful to the original and its deeply personal story. Do you agree?
I agree.
We'll see. We'll see if
Mhm.
if they get into their 60s and there's a great offer that will make them $100 million and they have to do minimal effort and they get to at least just pick the people behind it. I could see them changing their mind.
Yeah. Interesting.
I just don't know what they would do differently or add to it.
I don't either.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty close to a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what more territory you could explore in
Mhm.
this.
I don't think they should do it, but you never know. Okay, and so then we always have to ask this question is where does it fall? Where does it fall on the meter of horror comedy? Does it lean more on comedy? Does it lean more on horror? Is it a perfect blend? What do you guys think?
Personally, I think it skews a little more comedy on the spectrum, as evidenced by the fact that I can watch it alone in my home. And when I think about it, like, you know, even, you know, years after watching it, like when I think about it, I do think about the zombies, but I mostly think about the funny parts of it. That's
Okay.
just so that's the first thing that pops into my head. So that's how I gauge it.
I feel the same way. I think it's a laugh out loud comedy all the way through with some really badass zombie scenes. Like I said, at the beginning, the first 30, 40 minutes of the movie, when we see the zombies, they're kind of comical. Even though I think they said that their goal was to never make them the joke. Yeah, you did, though. You made them the joke a lot early on.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, they're not jokey anymore. They're real zombies that are a threat. But it's a comedy. I mean, I feel it's a comedy with great horror elements. So I would skew it 75% comedy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with both of you.
But a great blend. One of the best blends.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Mhm.
It really is a truly successful blend of it. Isn't that fun?
So what other, I mean, are there other movies in that you could say the same about? Like, what would you, because again, I'm not a big horror person. So what's something similar?
I can't name one that's as funny as Shaun
Yeah.
of the Dead. Not one. I can't name one that's as funny as
Mhm.
Shaun of the Dead. There are a lot of them. Like Return of the Living Dead is my personal favorite horror comedy. Return of the Living Dead. And it's funny. And I saw it 3 months ago in the theater again. But it's a horror movie with funny stuff. So
Right,
it's
right.
like, I would say it's 75% horror, 85% horror. So just the balance is not like Shaun of the Dead. So I can't, at the moment, maybe if I thought about it more, but I can't. I think this, to me, is the pinnacle.
Yeah, it is. I agree with that. You know what? And Tarantino called it his favorite film of 2004. I mean, it's huge praise.
Yeah. That is Shaun of the Dead. That was an absolute blast. It was as much fun as I had hoped it would be. And I live with disappointments constantly. So I'm always shocked when I'm not disappointed. So yay!
Yay! I love that story.
Hello. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Savannah, thank you so much for being a part of this and doing this. We both greatly appreciate this.
Absolutely. This was so much fun. And hey, y'all got me to watch a horror movie. That's huge.
We've accomplished something, Bart.
Right on. Let's talk about the breakup show. You've got a new breakup show coming out.
Yes.
Give us the dates, where they can see it, where they can get tickets, all of that jazz.
Absolutely. Breakup show will be November 13th through the 21st, I believe. It's 2 weekends in November, the 2 weekends before Thanksgiving. It's going to be at the Evergreen Theater in Midtown Memphis, Tennessee. And you'll be able to get tickets at friendsofgeorges.org, as Friends of Georges is producing this year's breakup show. It's going to be a hoot and a half.
That makes me so happy, Savannah. I'm so glad y'all are working on that together. Friends of George is such an amazing organization.
Absolutely. And some of my best friends and some of the most talented folks in the city. And that I believe that this year we're actually going to be calling it the Makeup Show. If you catch my drift, because
Wow.
makeup, drag queens. Yeah.
I will tell you, they're the only people who show up to the Ostrander's looking better than me, and I'm not even mad about it. I'm not
Right? Exactly.
not upset.
Uh-huh. They burned it.
Well, if you're anywhere in the South around those dates, I could not recommend the show enough. Every time I've seen it, it has been incredibly funny, musical numbers.
And since the last time you've seen it, Bart, it's gotten even more insane. So,
I can imagine.
yes. Yeah.
You will not be disappointed. Savannah, Lindsey,
Mhm.
thank you for this experience, and I care for you deeply.
Oh, thanks, guys. Love you, Savannah.
Love y'all. Love y'all more. I swear.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Bye, Savannah. Bye.
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 Woo!
Woo! Man, a lot to talk about there. A lot to talk about with that one. Like you said, just one of the best. How much fun was that?
To quote Rene Descartes, motherfucking Shaun of the Dead.
I'm pretty sure he said that.
God dang it, I love that movie. Love talking to Savannah. Miss talking to her.
Oh, I live in the same city as her and just do not get to see her enough. And it's a real shame.
I'm worn out from joy.
Yeah.
I'm worn out from getting to talk about such a great film with good, fine folks such as yourselves.
Absolutely. And it's such a great film to talk about. And it was fun to relive it again. And just being here with you two, it's kind of perfect.
It is a win-win across the board.
That's correct. And next week.
Yes, next week. Next week, we have our Halloween episode.
How exciting is that?
I am overjoyed.
It's going to be a good one, too. Oh, man.
See you next week.
See you next week, Bart. Have a good one.
All music for this podcast is provided by MKE. To hear more of his music, visit his band's website at detectivemusic.com and Detective on Spotify.